What's up, guys? I'm Mayhem from twitch.tv/itzmayhem gaming, and this is Armageddon, the podcast where we bring to you conspiratorial, spiritual, and technological discussions. In today's episode, we're talking about transgender kids' political rights and the LGBTQ plus community overall. Without further ado, let's get into it. And you already know today's episode, man, we're delving into transgendered minor rights. So, and obviously the LGBTQ, because that's the org is probably has to sponsor this and push forward for that. So yeah, I have here online from CNN.com from what's his name. Scotty Andrew from CNN, updated 12/31 on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2020. So this topic's it's a little old, but it's very very well much prominent today in 2023. So 3 years ago it's not that long ago, But yeah, cuz myself personally seeing all this talk about kids having sex changes and then it being incorporated in school curriculum for their sex ed and stuff, and it's their body, can do whatever they want, and all this radical talk, bro. And it's just all right, I'm all for the what's the correct term, the queer populace to have their rights and be recognized as people and not be taboo or shamed, which really nowadays it's not really taboo or shamed, obviously. Yeah, this guy, he wrote a lot here. I don't want to get into everything. We can get right here, this section right here. It says, since the start of 2020 legislative session, at least 6 states have proposed to restrict transgendered minors' access to gender reassignment treatments, including surgery and hormone therapy. Some bills would make it illegal for physicians to administer the treatments. Others would classify the act as child abuse. Now, me personally, I'm a young parent myself. I do not think kids should be seeing a doctor or no doctor from any medical field should be endorsing them for hormone adaptations or any surgical procedures, because you're 16, you can just barely drive a car. That's just staggering to me, dude. And just it's still a baby, man. They may not think, whatever, maybe the world doesn't view it like that, but bro, as a millennial, we're all about 26, 27, 28 at the youngest, and near our 40s, mid 40s or something at the oldest. A 16-year-old, that is a child, bro. For real. They shouldn't be inverting nothing or singeing off or surgically attaching anything, bro. You haven't even finished high school, dude. You're not even a sophomore. That's ludicrous. Okay, so as of 2020 January, the first vote happened on Wednesday in South Dakota. And let's see. The bill would make it a misdemeanor for physicians or any medical professionals to perform gender reassignment surgeries on minors or provide patients 16 and younger with hormones, even the minor is emancipated. Even if the minor is emancipated. Wow. Just look at that, dude. A misdemeanor, that's almost like a slap on the wrist, man. When I was like a teenager, man, like I used to get into a lot of trouble, man, a lot of misdemeanors left and right here and there. And like that's not so serious. Like they're not gonna they maybe they could at the most extreme extent, like they'll lose their job as a medical professional. But like really, maybe they get suspended. But I don't see them like losing out on their job or anything because of that. And further down, it gets into of the 105 members of South Dakota's state legislature, nearly half of them sponsored the bill. It advanced in the South Dakota House Affairs Committee by a vote of 8-5. Thorson said, and moves to the floor next, and quote, "The solution for children's identification with the opposite sex isn't to poison their bodies with megadoses of wrong hormones, to chemically or surgically castrate and sterilize them, or to remove healthy breast and reproductive organs." Representative Fred Dutch, the bill's primary sponsor, said in a statement to CNN, quote, "The solution is compassionate care, and that doesn't include catastrophically and irreversibly altering their bodies." That's pretty wild, bro. I'm glad, like, someone in a political like space doesn't want like for like the child to be under catastrophically or irreversibly body altering like things, but like I just think the whole like idea of that is just, it shouldn't be a thing. It should be 18 or older for them to like decide what they want to do with their bodies, if they want to fuck it up or not. You know, it's their choice. Let's go into, let's see. Yep, here we go. It says Dutch, who in 2016 proposed restricting transgendered students' bathrooms access in public schools, said he proposed this measure after some studies on the safety of puberty blocking hormones were inconclusive. Quote, "The bill will serve as a pause button until the minor is old enough to make informed decisions," he said. See, if the bill actually works like that, and I like that, like, you know, it's like a halt. You know, if they want to go through with it when they're 18, cool, do it. But like, I like that it's like a halt. They're like pausing that from happening. I really like that, because like overall, this seems like it can ruin their lives, bro. Because this is still a child at the end of the day. They could be all about it, and then like they get cold feet at some point, and then it's like, nah, you know, I don't want to do that. You know, like this guy wants to be a girl or whatever, and he just reconsiders. You know what? You know, he's okay with just being like a gay male and just like, you know, have a boyfriend and stuff, which is perfectly cool, man. You know, you like what you like, you love what you love, you're attracted to what you're attracted to, cool. But like, to be attracted to a male and then surgically like change yourself to be a female, to be like adored and like included and accepted more, and to be viewed in a certain like aspect, you know, just for that self-satisfaction. Sorry, not satisfaction, satisfaction. I apologize. Like, that's very extreme. Versus like if you can let them grow and like date men as like a homosexual like boy, male, and like get into adult years and, you know, experiment and explore, you know, like, because at 16, man, like, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that like most people like engage in like intercourse roughly at the age of 17 for like their first time, usually. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, like, at least in America, like 17 would be like the average. So like, I feel like they would have to experiment and experience that first before like this. But I do like that, like, it's a pause for them. And here they have header. Other bills are on the way. Senate and House bills in Florida. Oh, I live in Florida. Would make performing gender reassignment therapy a felony. Bills in Oklahoma and South Carolina would strip sorry, tricky word there, physicians, nurses, and other healthcare professionals of their licenses if they participate. Missouri has proposed no fewer than 5 laws, 4 of them identical, that ban healthcare providers from performing gender reassignment treatments and would classify parents who sign off on the treatments as child abusers. Now, a part of me, like, I want to say yes, I agree. But, like, not all parents are bad, you know? You can't view a parent as a bad guy. Because, like, if they like, thoroughly spoke about this with their minor and discussed it in, like, the most extreme details with all, like, varied scenarios that could occur, and like the minor was still like, yeah, I'm doing this, and like the parents, like, in good conscience and faith, signed off on it, I don't think that should be illegal. Cause like they had like a in-depth discussion, and even have the medical provider come through and like discuss that. Cause like a medical, like, professional's opinion should be like held in like high regard for sure. Like, you don't have to like them or whatever, but like if they're medical professionals, like, they've been in the field for a long time, man. Like, they've seen a thing or two, they know a thing or two. Like, I would like hear them out for sure. Similar bill aimed to protect minors from mutilation and sterilization was proposed in Colorado. The General Assembly there is led by a Democratic majority. Republican Breonna Taylor, Colorado's first openly transgender lawmaker, vowed to fight the bill. I'll fight against those who try to take away necessary health care, she said. I will not let legislation like this try to erase you. This was all in quote. CNN reached out to Senator Dennis Baxley in Florida and Representative Stuart Jones in South Carolina, both of whom sponsored their state bills. Neither of them were available for comment. It says the bills are nearly identical in language. Access to health care might be the latest and perhaps most extreme attempt to curb transgender rights among state legislatures. In 2015 and in 2016, lawmakers fixated on trans students' access to bathrooms. More recently, they panicked about students, athletes competing in sports as their identified gender. Now, I could see how that for sure can become like a debacle, dude. Cause like from birth, let's say up until the age of 14, right? You're going through puberty, you're a male and stuff, and you want to be a female, right? And somehow like your parents were like, yeah, and then you be like, yeah, and then the medical professional was like, yeah, and then it happened, right? Now you're a chick. Physically, like, by the laws of nature, like, the male physique is like designed and built more athletically versus a female's. Now, I'm not saying females are weak, they can't be stronger than men. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just like naturally at birth, right? No training, no anything, right? You just grow up like in the wild. The male will technically be superior when it comes to physicality. Like, strength, like running, hunting, fighting. You gotta think about it, man. Man has been in war forever, and we send our sons to die for whatever cause, and it's just rinse, lather, repeat, man. It's in our DNA, bro. Like, you don't have to agree with it, but it's just true. Like, look at history: World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, the Korean War, the Cold War, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. Like, it is everywhere, bro. Like, combat, combat, combat. And who are we sending? Young men, 18, 21, 28, 30, like, to their doom, bro, in a sense. So when you have like that much, like, I don't want to say ancestry, I'm out of words for it. I don't know the word for it. But like, that's like ancestral DNA, dude. And so like women are typically like healers and like gatherers and stuff, right? So like by default, like a guy would like hit harder, he can lift more, he can like bear more like labor, right? Now you put this transgendered male who's like a female or transgendered female. Correct me on the correct terminology. I don't know if a transgendered male is a woman or a transgendered woman is a male. Um, but in a school, like they would have an advantage over the natural women because like you live your life as a man, and like as a man, like you're raised differently than the female. Like no one can tell me otherwise. I'm a guy. Like how I was raised and brought up and stuff, and like was like taught and stuff and like told things was nowhere near identical or similar to like the treatment and how like my sisters were brought up and raised and stuff. Like I always had a, if I had an extent like I don't want to say like be their dad, but like I was like their keeper. Like, oh, I need to watch like what boys you're talking to, or who's in your friend group, and oh, this kid over here, this guy, he's like touching you too much, and stuff like that, and like, oh, like, this guy friend or like your boyfriend's like being too aggressive and stuff, and so I need to intervene or something. It's just like always like on combat mode, like authoritarian mode, dude. So it's just not the same, and it's an unfair advantage. So like personally, yes, it would be weird to have like this male who's now a female like compete with like other men, and like I just don't think it would work out well. It would be just unfair because what was it, in Colorado? There was a big Instagram like scoop of like this girl suing the state because this transgendered guy who's now a chick competed in this race, and this chick has been like the fastest like student in Colorado for like 2 years or something like that. And like, why wouldn't she win for the third year in a row? And she's won like for 2 years straight, and she's like beating all her peers in school. And I'm not saying like it's not impossible, but like the odds are kind of slim, dude. It's like when Anderson Silva in his peak, when he was in the UFC, nobody was beating him, bro. Right? So it's like this guy won like 50 like championships, dude, like undefeated. So it's just like why would he lose now if he didn't lose the other 49 times, So it's the same, like, application here. Right here. It says they have consequences for trans kids. If these bills pass, though the barriers to health care access could prove devastating to transgender children, studies have shown that transgender youth who are experiencing gender dysphoria, the belief that the gender they identify with doesn't match the gender they were assigned at birth are more likely to feel depressed or anxious, harm themselves, or attempt suicide. And end quote. The reason these bills that are being considered right now are so harmful is that they completely remove the possibility of trans youth from getting the care that they need, Thorson said. Now, this is such like a two-sided like topic, bro, and like the world is very black and white, but like there's a lot of gray everywhere, dude. Lots of gray. So, like, I feel like for the minors who are already like transgendered, they most definitely deserve medical care. You can't just like, oh, you're transgendered, you're under 18. Sorry, kid, and like, come back to me in 2-3+ years, and then we'll see what we can do for you. Like, no, you can't do that, because like anything can happen within days, minutes, hours, and like they need proper medical care and attention. You can't just leave them out. But to the kids who are considering this and have not yet gone through the transgression, like, no, obviously, like, no, wait till they're 18 and you can decide what you want. Like, nobody should be able to sign off or anything like that. Though it's foolish that if the medical personnel, the minor, and the parents are on the same like concession, if the parents should be able to sign off for that without any penalty legally. That's just dumb. But like, and besides those rare instances like that, like majority, like the vast majority, like, no, it should just be a big fat no. Wait till you're 18, then you can get it done. The bathroom ordeal here. For all the commotion over the trans people access to public bathrooms, only North Carolina passed and eventually repealed restricted access to gender-specific bathrooms. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper called it a dark cloud hanging over the state that had stained its reputation. Thorson pointed to previous efforts in South Dakota to curb transgender rights. In 2019, a proposed ban on transgender athletes competing as the gender they identify with was met with sharp derision. Local school board officials and order of Catholic nuns testified against it, and the bill was defeated. Dutch said he's not sure whether his latest bill will pass, though he said he's received support from transgendered adults and former transgender people. Thorson disagrees. Quote, "There's a low tolerance of these bills that feel like the bullying of transgender youths," he said. "The tide is maybe turning." And then that is the end of this whole political thing here. But it's a tough topic, man. I'd like to know what you guys think about this, because personally, like, I understand from like a healthcare perspective, like the minors, like, they need medical attention for sure, hands down. But like, only if they have been like transgressed. Is that the proper terminology? Transgendered? I think it's transgressed. Transformed? I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But like, and then the ones who want to but haven't, as like stated before, like with these bills, like, yes, keep them on halt, keep it at a pause. They should not be allowed to like go through this drastic change, because it's a very like life altering altercation here. But if you guys have any insight, I would like to know. I read all my comments, any messages sent to me, emails, whether it be via Twitch Whispers, Instagram, Twitter, my iCloud, and it's now upcoming YouTube podcast in the comments. Please blow it up, man, and share this out. Subscribe if you liked it. If not, man, hit that dislike button, bro. You know, we don't live in a one like kind of society, bro. You know, that's unrealistic. So like, if you don't like something and you have any tips, bro, yo, let us know, man. I'm not the only one who hosts this podcast, so more of us will be coming along, man. We'll have some interviews coming through. Eventually, you'll meet the co-host, CEG. Awesome dude, man. Very new to the streaming space and the podcast space, myself included. I've been a streamer for about 3 years now. Podcasting is a whole other beast. I'm glad I could reach out and talk to people about a pretty touchy subject, because like this is happening, man, and like this is going to be like the normality at some point going forward in life. And the LGBTQ, like that organization is like in this, right? So I don't know how much wealth and power they have, but I know they can make a difference. This organization can definitely make a difference. And the world is all for like the queer population. The queer population? No, that doesn't sound right. The queer populace having like their rights and being acknowledged and like being represented for sure. But like the children, man, like the children have to be left alone, man. Let them develop, let them grow, and then let them make their choices. But I'm glad for everybody who came through today. Have a good night, or a good day, or a good evening, depending on your time zone. I'm Mayhem, and we're out. Adios.